It was my first session as the assistant unit head at overnight camp, and it was my unit head's first day off. At 5 p.m. on the dot, he handed me his walkie-talkie and said he'd see me in 24 hours. I attached the walkie-talkie to the strap of my backpack, feeling a little powerful and a lot nervous. The responsibility of 10 staff members and 55 6th to 8th grade campers was all on me. I just had to make summer camp run smoothly for one day. What could go wrong? Well, just about 30 minutes later, a rainstorm hit Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. I was with the campers and counselors from my unit in our main indoor gathering space, the Beit Am. We'd been doing some afternoon Jewish learning when I got a call on the walkie-talkie. Each unit head had to report in and share where we were on the campgrounds. I responded, "We're in the Beit Am, everyone is accounted for." "Stay there until further notice," my camp director said. So we did. I gathered the staff and let them know we had to keep the campers occupied and having fun despite the storm outside. We came up with silly games with the supplies we had and tried to have fun. As the sky got darker, the wind crashing and rain pouring down, some campers became worried. When can we go back outside? Will our cabins be okay? I left my towels and swimsuits on the porch, and now they must be soaked. When are we having dinner? We knew we were safe indoors, but still worried. How long would we be stuck in here? As we tried to calm the anxious voices, we continued to play games and just kept waiting. Walkie-talkie in hand, I listened for any update. When would it be safe to go out? Finally, I got the call. It was far past dinner time, and it was finally safe enough to move everyone briskly to the dining hall. While I might have thought I would have excitedly burst out the door, I was nervous. I radioed back to double check. "Are you sure? It still looks stormy out there." Noah did not have a walkie-talkie on his ark. As the flood subsided, he had to find a different method to know if it was safe to leave the ark. I imagine Noah's ark like a big Beit Am, keeping him, his family, and all the animals safe from the storm. But I imagine animals much rowdier than my campers, and a storm that did more damage than just dampen the towels that were hanging outside. We read in the story that all the fountains of the great deep burst apart and the floodgates of the sky broke open. The waters swelled so high that even the highest mountains were covered in water. It must have been terrifying. This flood was not a Wisconsin rainstorm or even the kind of flood that means you have to replace the carpet in your basement. There were 40 days of rain and flooding, and it took another 150 days for the waters to recede. That is a lot of rounds of camp games and song sessions to occupy everyone. After all these days, Noah wondered, is it safe to leave the ark? Without a walkie-talkie or an iPhone weather app, he had to find his own way to figure out when it would be dry enough for him and all the other people and animals to head back to land. So he got creative. He opened a window and sent out a raven and then a dove to see if the waters had receded enough for them to leave the ark. If they could find a resting place and didn't come back, he would know there was dry land. But they didn't find a place to rest, so they came back to the ark. Noah waited 7 days and then sent the dove out again. Later that day, the dove returned holding an olive branch. So there was proof the waters had receded. Is it safe to leave the ark? Not yet, Noah thought. He wanted to be sure to wait until the dove could find a permanent resting place. So Noah waits another 7 days and sends the dove out again, and this time it does not return to the ark, meaning there must be more dry land and it must have found a dry place to rest. Is it safe to leave the ark? Noah needs to see for himself. He removes the cover of the ark and can see that the surface of the ground is drying. But still, he doesn't leave just yet. Finally, God speaks to Noah. Tse min hateva, go out from the ark. You, your family, and all the animals. God uses the imperative form of the word. Tse, get out, go, giving Noah that final push. He got the all clear from his celestial walkie-talkie. Only then did Noah and all the people and animals finally leave the ark. In these extra days that Noah waits, I see cautiousness and fear. I imagine him wondering, is the flood really over? Is it actually safe to leave the ark? How can I be sure? He gets sign after sign, but he still isn't ready. Noah even sees with his own eyes that the earth is drying, but it's not enough to convince him that it's safe to leave the ark, that he can finally stop holding his breath. After months inside the ark, not seeing any dry land, with the intensity of the flood surrounding him, Noah has been living in fear. Is it safe to leave the ark? He is cautious and afraid, needing extra time and an extra push from God before he's ready to set foot outside. We know this feeling of cautiously wondering, is it really over? Can I finally stop holding my breath? Is it safe to leave the ark? Maybe you've felt this in your own life as you start to recover from an illness and cautiously wonder if you can say you're feeling better. Maybe you've experienced a tension or rift with a friend or family member, and after a tentative reconciliation, have felt unsure whether the peace in the relationship will continue. Maybe you've had a difficult phase in parenting that starts to ease, and you cautiously hope that the calmer stage with your child will last. Perhaps after a loss, you begin to smile and laugh again, and you question if it is okay to feel joy. And communally, in these past couple of weeks, we have wondered, after 2 years of holding our breaths, whether it is finally over. All of us who have prayed for an end to the war in Israel and Gaza have wondered, can we stop holding our breaths? Is it finally safe to leave the ark? How do we know if it's safe to leave the ark? We may not always know for sure. We may have to take a leap of faith, to jump out of the ark and hope that our feet find a dry place to land, knowing we may get splashed a little along the way. We may have to sit in the discomfort of not knowing, cautiously hoping for the best while understanding that we can't predict the future. Sometimes in our tradition, we have rituals and cycles that give us clues. In the process of grieving a loved one, we have sacred markers of time that tell us we are moving into a different phase. When Shiva ends, we have a tradition of walking around the block to physically mark the end of the first 7 days of mourning. We don't stop missing our loved one, but we move into different ways of remembering and marking our grief. How else do we know? We look for clues around us, just as Noah did. Things we can see, hear, and touch with our senses that we know are true. There is a dove, and there is an olive branch. I can see a dry spot of land. And we turn to one another for support, to be the voices on the other ends of each other's spiritual walkie-talkies, to listen and share what we can see and support each other through the fear and uncertainty. A midrash imagines Noah as he steps off the ark. weeping at the devastation of the world. Although we might expect to see relief or joy, there is pain too. It's not the same world he left when he got on the ark before the flood. The world has been destroyed. He must assess the damage and see all that has changed. Then it's time for rebuilding and healing. After the flood, we can't return to the world as it was before. There has been destruction and loss, and we must rebuild and heal. And perhaps there is hope, too, of a future that doesn't erase the past, but allows us to move forward with hope that the new world we create is full of more olive branches and doves and more peace. Shabbat Shalom.